hey everybody, if you don't really care about D&D, you may be in for a lot of it. So maybe don't listen to this one.
If you're hearing this, then we put this second clip at the beginning after the first clip that said we're talking about D&D, and at that time we're still talking about it. We now are wrapping up the podcast, and we finished talking about it, but that was a little while ago, and we don't really know when. So I'm going to guess it was like maybe 45-ish minutes in, plus minus 3.
Hey guys, it's your favorite fellow Steve, live from the editing booth. If you want to skip the D&D stuff, go to 37 minutes, but I thought there were some pretty good jokes in there, so, maybe you'll want to listen to it. I don't know, I can't tell you what to do, I'm not your dad. And with that, enjoy the show. I would say anytime, but again, only once, okay? This is not...
You used your anytime.
Yeah, this is chill, but it's not cool. If we're rolling, dude. I don't want no training wheels on my dice, dog. What are you talking about? Once you explore the iceberg, there is like a core of love down there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but surface is seething hatred.
And welcome back to
A Couple of Fellas.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. We're hanging out in the Hotel Motel right now.
Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
La Quinta,
dude. It's a pretty sweet hotel. They got a little pool in the back. They got a little gym that I used once, which I don't know, dude. I haven't used a hotel gym in a long time. It feels kind of cool to be like getting the reps in when you're on
owning that space.
Yeah, I was about to say on vacation, but that is not what I'm on. I have been going to work every day.
Very responsible.
Yeah.
Sir, if you're listening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Friday Eve. We're chilling.
Chilling indeed.
I have class till 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Oof, okay.
Not cool, but
yeah,
whatever.
Got to put in the work day, it sounds like.
It's a full one. It's a full one.
Sounds almost as tough as mine.
Could be rough. I'll manage. I'll make it through.
Right, of course.
So to jump back into what we interrupted to hit record, we've got a new Dungeons & Dragons campaign coming up.
That's true,
It's dark.
Right.
It's edgy.
Is it?
It's dark.
Oh, no. Double dark.
This is advanced darkness.
Oh, God, the worst kind, dude. Well, the darkest kind, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm talking Vanta Black, the campaign.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we got to find some characters to blaze our way through that darkness.
That's true.
And I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. The character creation, I don't know. The thing is, when I first played, I was just like, oh, I want to be a magic guy. I want to cast spells. Like, I want to be throwing fireballs and lightning bolts and such. And then I found out that there's a difference between a sorcerer, a warlock, a wizard, a druid, and all these different spellcasters.
Don't forget the fact that they subsplit into different shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Dozens of
and
them.
Then each one has like 6 subclasses that you can choose from.
Correct.
And so, yeah, I would say I'm also somewhat paralyzed by choice right now.
I think Cleric has 14 subclasses.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm also trying to figure out what I'm doing right now. I'm curious what your thoughts are. What do you want to get out of this campaign?
I want to save the world, Steven.
Right, of course. But who do you want to be while doing it?
That's the hard part. I'll be honest. Playing the Paladin the first time around was exhilarating. I got to beat the shit out of a lot of things with a big-ass hammer. Right. Very, very stylish.
Very true.
And I also did magic.
Of course. Yeah, that's true.
I'm honestly thinking Paladin might be it again for me.
He's a might and magic kind of guy. Yeah.
It was a good blend.
Yeah.
If not that, maybe a Cleric. Similar idea.
Okay, I see.
If I do Cleric, might just lean into the whole like anti-darkness thing. I'm gonna bring double light.
Oh wow!
Like light or life or whatever that kind of cleric is, all healing.
Yeah.
Just here to support my friends.
Right. Oh, what a sweet boy.
Yeah, I figure if I do that, it kind of opens you guys up to do literally anything with slightly more reckless abandon.
Right. Yeah, very true. A little bit more. Oh boy, hold on. This might be important. Sorry.
You gonna take this call?
I am gonna take this call.
I'm gonna pause. And we are back.
Oh, yeah. Our Uber Eats got here, dude. Absolutely delicious.
We're totally saving that for later because we wanted to jump right back into the recording.
Right.
We care about the fans first.
Of course. And where we left off was
building D&D characters.
Right.
What all of our fans wanted to hear about.
Yeah, of course.
Why we were so excited to get back to it.
I know. They all do deeply care about our special little adventures.
Well, it's a good thing there's about 56 and a half minutes left about it.
Perfect. So yeah, were you saying you want to make a paladin?
I think that's a very good option, that or a cleric.
Okay.
But if I do cleric, then y'all better capitalize on that and do some like fuck a half healer, make some really cool stuff.
Okay. And if you do a paladin, we have to make less cool stuff.
Well, somebody else should be able to heal also.
Right, of course.
Which just like kind of, that's sort of the only thing you need in a party, I would argue.
I don't know. Did we have a healer in our first party?
Me.
Oh, yeah, true.
Doesn't come up too often because a lot of the healing spells just aren't very good.
Yeah, I agree.
They feel, maybe it's just video games that have spoiled me, but they feel very not worth the action economy to get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I got hit for 15 damage. I don't need 5 healing.
Yeah.
I need 15.
Right, of course, yeah. 1d4 ain't cutting it at that point.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need a good berry.
Yeah, true.
I need a great berry.
Yeah, and I need a lot of them.
There is a apparently well-known game-breaking DM usually banning combo class involving good berries.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, yeah, you multi-class with, I think, Life Cleric or something. There's 2 classes, but one of them gets you access to a skill or a feat or some bonus that makes healing stuff worth like +2, but there's another one that lets you like add a roll to it. But basically it multiplies the value of good berry by 4.
Okay.
So suddenly you have a first level spell that heals 40 damage and can be split up between people.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds pretty broken.
And that's level 1. And there's a couple of ways to scale it with other stacked bonuses as you level.
Right.
And it gets to the point where like it affects 2 spells. One being good berry, which you make like 10 berries in your hand and they all heal you 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually with level ups, that's worth more than other stuff stacks. It ends up being to the point where you can do like 60 D4s worth of healing or something. And there's some other spell where it is an aura, and if anyone steps through it, they get healed. But it doesn't say like once per turn. So you could hypothetically have like a bunch of people running in and out of it, and with all of these buffs stacked on your spell casting, it does like 40 plus 60 D4 healing every turn or
it's like
something.
Running through a sprinkler.
So yeah, those break the
you got
game.
Buff.
Sadly, Brody is brilliant at D&D, so I don't think
right.
any well-known hack characters are going to make it past him.
Yeah, we got to get a little more clever.
Exactly.
And how do we do such a thing? I feel like that takes a lot of research and experimentation.
Yeah, like Jake's read into it. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, Jake's got some good, synergies on his characters.
I think maybe we can start there and build outwards because he seems the most confident of us in the character he's going to have.
Right.
Looks like he's leaning chronergy wizard, which I think is time magic.
Okay. But
Sick.
that just sounds like a subclass of a wizard.
It is.
Yeah.
But time magic is going to be his shtick.
Oh, yeah, the water, though. I wonder...
So like that's
how's
a glass
that going to come into
cannon.
play? Yeah, what does time magic look like?
I
in
don't know,
D&D?
but I like it because it sounds like it has combat and role-playing applicability.
Right.
You can use that when you're out of combat and doing diplomatic stuff and sneaking around and whatever else.
What if while we're playing we get a message from Jake from the future?
Dude.
I know.
Dude.
Or even crazier, from the past.
No, that one makes more sense.
Right.
I could schedule a text.
Yeah. But what if we send him a message into the future at some point and then he can respond to it and then...
I have an idea.
What?
What if we send him a message right now on this very podcast, which doesn't air until the future?
Right.
Would that not be sending Jake a message from the past?
Yes, it would be.
There you go.
But how do we do it in D&D, I'm saying? How do
our characters have to start a podcast.
Okay, easy enough. Yeah. There's so few. That's a niche market that's waiting to be filled in Weatherrun or wherever we are.
Do you think they're, pulling back to reality, do you think there are podcasts where people just straight up like role play or tell stories? And I don't mean play D&D, but like just the role play. Like this is my character.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Oh, just role play? Like
Yes. Like it is, I don't know, I guess maybe under the guise of like storytelling, but just role play, like as someone else.
Like improvisationally, I assume you mean.
Maybe.
Because yeah, there's podcasts that are like scripted.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily role playing. Like every Wandry
Is
podcast.
acting role playing? If it's like a podcast
Yeah.
of people acting?
I guess that would count.
Okay.
If it was like the whole time, like that's their thing, is just the role. Yeah, I guess there would be, huh?
But if role playing is improvisational, that's very different. And I don't know if there's a podcast like that. Although, no.
We could do that every episode. We could just
No.
pick 2 fake people and become them.
So here's the thing. There is a podcast I know about. It's called, I forget what it's called, but it's Lauren Lapkus. And what she does is every episode, she is the guest on a fake talk show. And the talk show and the character who is like interviewing her is a different comedian or something. And that's basically what they do. So like one guy was like pretending to basically like just be this weird perverted vampire, and like she was a guest on his show, and he would like ask her questions and things.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
And I think that kind of counts.
I think that
Like
even though
she's playing her, but the other half at least is pretty much what I was talking about.
right, and also like playing yourself in that situation. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, or no, maybe she does pick a character for every episode as well. I don't know, but it is all like improvised and everything.
I have respect for improv, man, especially
Yeah.
after seeing
Middleditch and Schwartz.
Mark Rebelay.
Oh my god, yeah, dude.
Did we talk about that in any detail on the podcast? We must have, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Yeah, we saw the concert that day recorded. What else were we going to talk about?
Fair enough. They all just blend together.
Yeah, right.
That's also the only Mark Rebelay concert I've ever been to, so I don't know how that blends together, but the podcast bit holds up.
Oh, yeah, of course. Life blends together.
Life
Conversation,
blends.
talking to him, talking about him outside the podcast, talking about him inside the podcast. Yeah.
I can be forgiven.
It can go either way. And
I
you
can
know
forgive
what?
myself.
And I will forgive you as well. Just
Look at
this
that.
once.
2 for 2.
Don't keep doing this kind of stuff. Don't, let's not push it is all I'm saying. But this time, you're in the clear.
Thank you for your graciousness.
Yeah, dude.
So anyway.
I would say any time, but again, only once, okay? This is not...
You used your any time.
Yeah, this is chill, but it's not cool, or which, I don't know. Whichever one is more better, it's not that one,
I didn't play Club Penguin, dude. I don't know the degrees of cool.
Oh god, okay, that's strike 2, but in a different strike list. You have several going. Some you're in the clear on, some you're really starting to get close to striking out.
I appreciate you making more lists as I go.
Oh yeah,
and
dude,
not putting it
absolutely.
all
It's
on
like
one.
that's not the same kind of fucked up. That's a new kind. So you're like pretty not bad, but in a lot of ways.
Thank you.
Yeah. I should say you're not that bad, but there are a lot of ways that...
Pretty not bad. I'm going to put that in
Yeah.
quotes and use it in my email signature.
I remember at one point, my friends and I, there was a girl who was like pretty good looking or whatever, but like, I don't know. And we called her Extreme because she was extremely not bad.
Y'all are fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
That's A+ comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff.
Any other good nicknames? You or any of your friends?
I mean, I had a ton of nicknames for whatever reason. I collected them like.
I
And
gave
not-
other people nicknames all the time, but I don't think I ever really had one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very 80s thing. I've been watching movies that are in different time periods lately, I think.
Right.
Maybe. And a lot of people just call each other by nicknames
Right.
routinely. And I feel like that's fallen out of favor, which is a bummer because I think it's super fun to have a rotating list of names.
Dude, I had so many.
Let me hear some.
In high school.
Slomp.
Slomp.
Which is
Not slob, slomp, which was derived from sloth.
naturally.
Sloth came first in reference to Sloth from the Goonies, and then that was turned into slomp.
Which is even funnier.
There was Scuba Steve, but like not many people said that whole thing, or that eventually turned into
Scoob.
Scuba and Scoob or Scooby. Then there was
How did that one come up?
Scuba Steve from that.
But how did that come up, I mean?
Some guys like the movie Big Daddy with Adam Sandler, and the kid has a toy named Scuba Steve, and
Got it.
My name's Steve. So
I don't know that I've seen that movie.
oh, it's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm a Sandler fan.
It's the Sandler heyday. Yeah.
I'm a Fandler.
Absolutely. Oh, and Dylan and Cole Sprouse play the kid in it.
They both play one kid.
Yeah, they're identical twins.
Yes, I know, but that doesn't mean they couldn't have two roles.
That's true. But also, it's like a Michelle from Full House kind of deal.
I don't know that show at all.
Full House.
I am familiar that it exists.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen playing Michelle.
No. What?
Yeah, they were twins, and they were literally babies on like the first season of the show.
Oh wow.
That's
the show that
like,
made them famous.
Dude, when you think about Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, and you think about child stars, imagine being a child star from the time you're a baby.
That's literally insane.
I know. Like, wouldn't you just not wish that upon anybody?
Yeah, they deserve all of the benefits they got from it because fuck that.
Yeah, like, and dude, they weren't just like on a TV show. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, I feel like, were like a pop phenomenon. Oh no!
Water down the wrong pipe.
Zane died, everybody. This is a solo podcast in his honor.
Rip.
But yeah, dude, they were like, I don't know, they had like albums and like this like fan club that like kids can join. Like they were absolute superstars for a while.
Terrifying.
Yeah. At so young, crazy.
And their sister is Wanda Maximoff, right?
Yeah, she seemed fine. She seems like she turned out okay.
She wasn't from the baby. She was adjacent, though, I guess. She must have still been famous as a child, right?
That's a good question. I never heard about her until I never knew about her until Avengers, I don't think.
Probably me neither.
Right.
But I also am not a good gauge of someone's fame. I barely keep up with anything.
Right. You have your few.
Yeah.
You have your comedians.
Pretty much.
You have your engineers.
Few.
Yeah. Elon Musk is the one I was thinking. Maybe no others.
Maybe Lex.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, D&D. So are you still enamored with throwing fireballs and doing magic, or are you thinking more stebby?
I don't know. Yeah, because I already did 2 spellcasters in the last campaign. So, and in this one we're doing now, which is all combat, I'm doing rogue, which is like fun. Just the thing is, magic, like all the other combat styles are so straightforward, it seems. Like,
I mean, they get more intricate. Like fighter, which you would think is the blandest, gets that whole lineup of like special moves and stuff.
Right. Yeah, true. You can line up a lot of damage and stuff.
But I mean, like, some of them are very unique and interesting, like ways that let you move around and do more attacks out of turn.
Right.
Ways that let you, like, buff and control the battlefield.
Yeah.
There's some interesting stuff.
That's why I liked Bard so much, because from, like, an early point, like, I was very tricky. Like, I could lay a field over, like, a whole, like, a 20 by 20 square of enemies that would give us advantage against all of them for, like, the rest of combat.
You honestly could do Bard again, because from what I understand, I think it's the best.
Dude, yeah, Bard is fun. You can, like, buff all of your teammates. And I also had some, like...
Did you start or finish as Bard?
Finish.
Okay.
Like...
So only up through, like, the level 5 that we'd be playing this campaign basically starting at.
Yeah, right. So, maybe I could do Bard. But,
I'd love to have you as a Bard. That was fun.
Yeah, and then also, like, some of the spells I had were sick. I remember in that one point in the last campaign where I read a book that took over my mind, and then I had a separate chat with Brody because, like, all of a sudden I was against you guys. You didn't know because I was, like, locked in a room or whatever. And then when I came out and I unleashed, like, a level 3, like, whatever. Oh, what was it called? I forget what the noise was, but it's just like this like incredibly like loud ringing noise, and I released that at like the highest level I could against you guys because I saw that you were all there to like attack me. And it was like, oh shit, I actually like I could wipe a lot of things with like this level of power in this Bard. It was it's a cool build. It's a cool class.
I think I saw another on the Reddit's D&D thing where I don't know if it was a multi-class with Bard and a different classes
multi-class
spell.
with Bard would be sick.
Yeah, it would be really cool even if you just took a level 1 in like Warlock or Sorcerer or something that unlocked a bunch of different options that built on, and then you leveled Bard the rest of it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think a Barlock. I'm very interested in multi-classing, but I honestly don't know enough about the rest of them.
I know there are some ways that, like, if you multi-class with Warlock, your Eldritch Blast would level with your other skill, like your other class, in a way that makes it even better than if a Warlock uses it.
Yeah, probably because some spellcasters can cast level 3 spells earlier than a Warlock, but if you have that spell and you are a different class, and you can cast a level 3 version of any level 1 or 2
That might
spell,
be it.
That's probably what it is, yeah.
But I think also the base damage, like, increases better. But yeah, look into that multi-class. But I think I saw one where this bard and maybe something else filled a book, like imbued each page or something with words of mockery, or vicious mockery, and like filled out, I don't know, like 100-page book of it, and then cast a different spell on the book that forced anyone who opened it to read the whole thing. So they got like 100 D4 damage and just got roasted by this entire book that they were forced to read.
Vicious Mockery was a good little cantrip to have.
That's so funny.
And that's a fun one to roleplay too.
Yeah, you just get to make up insults that hurt them physically.
Yeah. I get to yell, "Your armor looks stupid."
and then they take 3 damage. That was also why I loved Guy with a Big Ass Hammer. The roleplay was hysterical.
That's true.
Like knocking down doors when we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Hitting a bandit in the street and blowing his limbs off of his torso.
Yeah, souping him, turning him to soup.
In a public square.
Yeah.
Yeah, soup dupe. Could be fun. I liked hitting stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could go like Barbarian or something. They hit stuff too.
Yeah. Hamza did it.
True.
I think I'll do the Healy Cleric if it's going to let all you guys do stuff in a way that makes our team fit better. If it doesn't really end up mattering, I think I'm going to run back Paladin and try to build it in a way that's fairly different from the one I did.
Right.
But probably still with a big hammer.
You'll have to pick a new god to fight for.
Definitely a new god, probably a new race. I don't know if Half Dragon is the one for me again.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing is like I do want to do something different. But yeah,
different than Rogue? What you currently play as? For anyone not keeping pace with all this jargon.
Different than I have played before, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many options. I want to like.
I agree. And the druid has been so much fun.
Right, yeah.
Turning into any different animal or a sentient bush.
Dude, yeah, last session when you were a giant snake with 2 giant wolves like as your helpers, that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. I kind of outdid myself last round, I think.
Yeah.
But I've had a handful of rounds in this campaign where druid really has some fucking versatility.
Packed on some damage and survived for a very long time.
A couple of multi-hit splashes that hit like 80, 100 damage cumulative.
Dude, we would not have taken out that dragon without you.
Yeah,
No
I like the druid is a blast.
Yeah.
And
Druid
that's
is
a
very
weird
versatile.
one. That's a fun and weird one.
Yeah.
Maybe what I'll do is take Paladin or Druid again and multi-class so it's different.
Right.
Or at least so that my like go-to turn mechanic is different.
Yeah. I feel like so Brody, our senpai DM, he asked us off like mic or whatever outside of the session what was your like most frustrating aspect of like your character.
Yeah.
And then so what was yours?
Mine was that I felt
or like what situation is the most frustrating to be in?
I don't know that this is the same answer, but I think I was saying that my wild shape still feels like it's not really packing much of an oomph. Like it's fine, but I turn into creatures that are a little underpowered for our encounters, and then like I get knocked back, or I don't get to use the wild shape at all because I'm just better off throwing spells.
Right.
So the options, at least 2, I forget one of them, but one of the options he gave me was like a magic saddle, so that whoever's in it like can't get knocked off. The idea being that I could transform, and then any of you could jump on and unhindered do any of your actions, but also not get knocked off.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And then I forget the second, but the third option was an amulet that lets me transform into monsters 1 challenge rating higher, which, as I explained,
that's better.
is a massive jump.
Yeah, that's
it was
huge.
The difference between me being a giant wolf with 2 other giant wolves and me being a 45-foot long snake. with 2 giant wolves.
And come on, yeah, at the price of this amulet, come on.
It costs both of my transformations
right.
per short rest.
Yeah.
However, you saw it.
Yeah.
Like,
the results speak for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And next level, if we played this even a little more, if I hit level 6, then suddenly I can do challenge rating 3, which most druids can't do until they're like level 12.
Okay, so what kind of beast can you turn into a challenge rating 3? Any notable ones?
I honestly would have to like double check, but it's crazy shit at that point already. Like,
right.
I think wormlings, like babyest dragons, I think, are on the menu. Like, there might be like 2 or 3 headed dogs now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Crazy like mountain bear, like
dude, 3-headed
giants.
dogs are probably 3 attacks in a turn.
That's pretty true.
That's nuts.
If I was a giant hyena at 1,
yeah,
and a 45-foot long snake at 2, it's hard to like scale that what level 3 looks like.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure it's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like definitely flying monsters, like griffin maybe. Real shit.
Right.
That might be when I get elementals too, like air, earth, fire, and water elementals as transformation options.
Okay.
Another game break hack I heard was that if you do druid and multiclass with, I think, rogue, you can lay down spike growth, and there's some way to like double the size of it or something like that. Turn into an air elemental, and then with some roguelike ability, grapple and move with an enemy, and you can just, as an air elemental, drag them back and forth over this patch of ground, dealing like 80 damage.
Shit, dude.
There are some creative ways people combine this stuff.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, there's so many variables. Oh, yeah. I got to tool around more.
I hope at least one of us has one of the magic-y spells that's just like a tinkery spell for all of the outside of combat stuff when you want to like make fake things or illusions or unlock doors or like listen to stuff or like sense things. I want some utility magic happening in this run.
Right. Yeah, I had some stuff. I definitely with my original character Kashmir, R.I.P. Kashmir.
What was his full name?
Kashmir Mindfucker. he was a psychic.
And he would fuck your mom.
He was a psionics like sorcerer. And yeah, so I definitely tried to put some utility in him socially, like a lot of spells for charming people, a lot of spells for like making people incredibly afraid, things like that, and also just like super high charisma and persuasion and all that kind of stuff. And then he also had like minor illusion and things like that.
Just as like a cantrip.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know if are we going to the city one? Is that the next campaign?
No, we're doing spooky Darktown.
Oh, okay, right.
Vampire Overlord, Population in Terror. Yeah. Basically Castlevania.
Okay. Oh yeah, radiant damage is going to come in handy. I
think
bet.
Paladin is a great move, possibly Cleric, possibly Druid. Those are still my favorites, but
Very
Druid
true.
or Paladin would be multi-class.
Right.
Unfortunately, that doesn't, not that much of this makes for great podcast listening, but digging into multi-class definitely doesn't, because that's where it gets like mechanically technical, what works well.
You know what? We'll record right now. We'll say, hey, everybody, if you don't really care about D&D, you may be in for a lot of it. So maybe don't listen to this one. If you don't like D&D, well, how far into it are we?
Almost halfway.
Okay. What maybe instead we can also throw at the beginning that skip to whatever time.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to it. Yeah.
We can actually record that right now in Listen, and then for anyone that listens through it, they'll be like, oh, this is where they cut that from.
True. Okay.
If you are listening to this and you do not like Dungeons and Dragons,
or if you just like kind of don't care about it, we talk about it for a long time. We get pretty into it, and we thought it'd be a courtesy to maybe throw in a timestamp right here. 30 something, I don't know.
We're at like 28-ish as we're recording this, but there's no promise we're done anytime soon.
Okay, so we'll record another one later in the episode, and we'll actually put the minute.
This sounds good.
Okay, perfect.
And now that we're back on topic, still at 28 minutes, let's
Right.
just keep rolling.
Okay,
we can leave that
perfect.
in there. We'll copy and paste that.
Oh,
cut
I
and
was
paste.
100% thinking about leaving that in there.
Good.
Yeah.
I want them to hear it twice.
That's fun for the listeners.
I hope so. These Easter eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Glitches in the Matrix, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah. A little peek behind the curtain, a little bit of fourth wall breaking stuff. Yeah, we're kind of meta. We're kind of comedy geniuses.
What if you did a bard rogue?
A bard rogue.
Find which one works better and get the weak one to like 1 or 3 or 2 or whatever like is optimal, and then major level the other.
Yeah. Right,
whichever direction works better.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of Kashmir stuff you only had by level 3. So if you had a level 2, 1, 2, or 3 bard, you would still have a lot of that fun stuff and then have your rogue.
Yeah.
And if there's some way to realign like what skill you have to use for those bard roles, maybe you can still like level it with your rogue.
Oh, you know what's awesome about that too is bards, their most important skills are, that's another big thing about multi-classing, is you want the primary skills to like be aligned between the two classes. And a bard uses charisma and dexterity, and a rogue also uses dexterity. So if I like spec super high into those two things, I might want to do whatever. But yeah, if I spec super high into, it's easy to do two skills at the same time. If I do charisma and dexterity, that would be good for both of them. And yeah, I would definitely want to pick
even as a rogue, charisma can come in handy, I would think. Depend for like outside of combat role
True,
play.
for general thievery, when you're getting caught.
Lying, sneaking.
Yeah, that's good to have.
Espionage.
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 But yeah, I would definitely need to pick a rogue that has a spell that can be funneled through the bard's
like
quicker spell leveling. Yeah, exactly. Because right now I'm playing a swashbuckling rogue who's like, he's a taijutsu master for my Naruto
Swish
heads out there.
swashler,
Yeah, Swish Swashler, the Swish Swashler, the swashbuckling rogue. But yeah, he doesn't like have any spells. He's just he just stabs and he shoots his crossbows and he's quick and he's untouchable.
And he looks good doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the most important part.
Yeah.
Something else I was looking into, and unfortunately this doesn't work quickly enough to like Google it along the side.
Right.
But was just most fun or funny role-playing wise classes that people have done.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some ways, like, I don't know, fighter, monk, or something. There are some combos or classes that let you do your martial combat with other skills.
Right.
Like how with Shillelagh, I can use my, I don't know, wisdom or something as a druid.
Right.
So some people make, like, young boy or old woman who is very wise but not strong and is beating the shit out of people with their like wisdom.
Right, yeah. Dude, I mean, you can mentally terrorize a hobgoblin. And they're pretty tough things, but like I made a few of them just buckle over in fear with my skinny little tiefling Kashmir.
Named Kashmir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got some psychic energy in their brains.
What are some other fun, silly ones? Another one that I think I saw was, this might have come from Brody. Was it the 600-year-old wizard? Was that from Brody?
Possibly. Not from me.
It was so old that he's like a level 20 wizard. Max level, knows all of the stuff, has learned everything. But he's so goddamn old that his mind is going and his memory is shot. So he's got level 1 playlist. So for like role playing wise, that's funny as hell.
Yeah. Imagine getting that busted ass character all the way up to level 20
again,
tooth and nail.
Yeah, I don't know. I think also I've been toying with this idea. I'm considering bringing it up with Brody. Can we roll for stats?
Ooh.
High risk, high reward. But if you get like a solid set of rolls and have like already 3 skill points higher than average, that's huge.
That's so huge.
And if everyone gets into the right mindset of like, this can be funny, there will be detriment and we'll have to work together. But if I roll a character that is like 3 points low, I'm going to fill one stat to try and make him competent at one thing, but he's going to be like an invalid otherwise.
If I'm rolling for stats, I want to roll the stats before I choose anything else about my character.
Correct.
Yeah. That definitely could be interesting. And then one of us just rolls straight 6s and they're a god.
Or what? Yeah, 20s or 10s. I don't know. Whatever you roll base 20.
Is it a D20?
I think you roll a D20, and that gives you the points that you can like assign to each attribute.
Okay.
There might be rules for like if you roll a 6 or something to re-roll. I don't know how that would work, or if Brody would want to set boundaries.
Right.
But I think that the last time before we all started playing together that I made a character was a couple years back for some reason or another. And I did roll for it, and that was what happened. I think I ended up with whatever. Instead of having an average of 13 or something, my average was like 15. I had like 8 points high.
Oh, wow.
I was starting at like 18 and 4 stats.
Damn,
and
dude.
I wish that I had gotten to play an adventure with someone who's just a god.
Yeah.
It's like taking Steve Rogers as your human fighter.
Yeah, I could be open to rolling for stats. That would kind of like take out that like idea of, oh, I hope I'm like doing this perfectly, because like when the world is your oyster and it's a blue ocean in front of you and you can pick whatever you want.
Is it an oyster or is it an ocean?
You have there is an ocean in front of you, and within that ocean is an oyster, and you
have to find it,
and that oyster is yours
if you find it.
Yeah,
in the ocean?
Of course. No, you have found it. It is right there.
Okay, this is the one.
Exactly. But then what do you do with the world? And when you can pick any kind of multi-class you want, because you can pick whatever stats you want, I feel like that constantly leaves like, oh, I hope I'm doing this perfectly. But when you're just handed like a crap hand, you're like, all right, let's see what I can do with this thing.
And I don't think that would be terrible.
I don't think so either.
I think it could be funny, and it could come to creative role-playing and interesting scenarios, even through misfortune.
Right. I was going to say,
Brody as a DM would have to be willing to like also tweak things so that we don't just get crushed if 3 of the 4 of us have bad characters and one is a god. But like,
I mean, I guess I'm sure if we all agree to it, we're men. We can stick to our word. I don't think I'm gonna throw a hissy fit if I get a bunch of like low rolls.
If we get TPK'd a quarter of the way into the campaign,
then we do. Then we.
All right,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
That's the game.
You're right.
If we're rolling,
I
we're rolling.
Win it.
Yeah, but if we're rolling, dude. I don't want no training wheels on my dice, dog. What are you talking about?
Just weights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, not even weights. I just want to play a fair and honest game of D&D with some fair and honest dice.
Okay.
And let Lady Luck have her way with me.
You could do Lady Luck as your patron and let her have her way with you.
That's true. Well,
be a warlock.
If I'm so lucky as she is my lord.
If you're so lucky.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly.
With Luck as your patron, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of classes get minions, also very cool.
Yeah,
Druids, warlocks, couple of the other spellcasters.
Yeah, I feel like necromancers.
I wonder if we could pick up a squire as a paladin.
A squire. Dude, when I used to work at Best Buy, one of the guys I worked with, and this was when I was like very
had
new,
a squire,
and it was me. Like he would walk around like, and I would be like shadowing him for the day to see how he like interacts with customers and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, he would call me Squire.
I dig it.
Yeah, exactly.
Squire Steve.
Yeah, he was a funny guy. He was the guy, I don't know if I told you about this before, but like this lady comes in. She was very pretty, I will say. And this guy was like pretty bro-y. And so he like,
oh boy,
doing his job, walks up to her, can I help you, whatever. She's
Best
like,
Buy bros.
I'm looking for a printer. And he takes her down like this whole line of printers. He's like, oh, this is like this one, this is this one. But this is like the Mercedes of printers. And he's like saying all this like whatever.
Fancy
he's like really selling her.
And you're shadowing during this time?
Yeah, exactly. She walks out with like a fairly expensive printer, and then he comes over and he's like, bro, did you see that? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, bro, I don't know anything about printers. You just gotta like act like you do. And I don't know if
I don't know anything about printers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was an interesting character, that guy. He gave me some life advice sometime. I got a lot of life advice from Best Buy employees, I will say.
I got a little bit of the same from McDonald's employees.
Right.
When you're working the closing shift on a Sunday at McDonald's.
You start getting personal.
Yeah.
This is your family
Things
now.
are interesting.
Right.
And interesting things happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a doorway to Narnia, that little drive-through window. You never fucking know what Saturn's going to pull through. A lot of flashing people, handful of banging people.
Really?
Not while I was there, but direct, like multiple confirmation stories of people who'd been working there just a bit longer than me.
Wow, that's wild, dude. People don't give a fuck about McDonald's.
Can't respect these poor boys doing their job.
Yeah, exactly. Those poor boys and girls. And
It was just
everyone else.
that particular shift. Michael Carminati, I think, if I'll dox him.
Okay.
Awesome dude. Really reminded me of Seth Rogen.
Nice.
Really did not love
Who's
being
now
told
playing?
that.
Who's now playing Donkey Kong?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredibly funny.
Hell yeah.
Just a solid dude, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Yep,
yeah.
I don't really fuck with people, so I like the late shifts."
It was just the two of you.
No, usually like 3, but sometimes 2 by the very end of a shift.
Okay,
So sometimes, yeah.
Damn.
Not a lot to do on Sunday at 1 a.m. and you're just mopping up grease or whatever.
Was this a summer job?
I did that some of during high school, some of right after high school, and then on some breaks when I went home for like the first half of college.
Right,
First year
yeah.
of college.
Yeah. Were you working till 1 a.m. on Sundays during school?
I don't think so, but occasionally I think
No
I did.
way, dude. I was not staying up that late on school nights. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, like as a senior, sometimes I did, I think.
Right. Yeah, I might have too.
I was
don't know.
passing.
Definitely when I had like essays to write, I think I would do some dumb shit like that, like not start writing it until like 10 p.m. or midnight the night before.
Good.
Yeah. But I don't think I really pulled all-nighters for school like ever in high school.
I don't think so.
Yeah, actually definitely not. I never would have. I didn't do that until
I had to and
finals.
was paying for it.
I did it once during finals my first semester of college. I pulled it. That was the first time I ever did that, I think, for school.
I've done them periodically through college and since. Occasionally, although this has not happened since starting med school, because I felt like I had too much energy.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily with sleeping too much or too well, but just like I have a lot of energy, and I know every time I stay up late, I get to do a lot of fun stuff like video game or TV, as well as productive stuff.
Right.
I get a lot of homework done, studying, essay writing, med school application stuff at the time.
Right.
So I got a lot out of it, and sometimes just felt like I had energy to burn.
Wow.
That especially was a thing during COVID. In school, sometimes more by necessity or choice.
Mm-hmm.
But like during COVID, especially when I was doing very little and not leaving very often at all,
Yeah.
I was like, I could get a lot of my essay writing done tonight and also finish the show I was watching and play some video games.
Right, right.
I can afford this. And I
Yeah.
would just do an all-nighter occasionally, every couple months.
Yeah, see, it wrecks me, dude. An all-nighter absolutely wrecks me.
I've had a couple of 2-3 hour nights in med school so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great going to class the next day. Like, I am feeling good.
Like seriously, I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, that one was sarcastic.
Okay, good.
I'm pretty much exhausted all the
couldn't
time
tell.
now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I did that a couple times, and I definitely like fell asleep in a couple lectures, or came damn close if I didn't fall asleep.
Yeah, I have definitely dozed off in lectures. That happened a lot during Physics 2 at 8 a.m.
Oh, dude,
Luke and Danny.
I was bad about 8 a.m. classes. I don't think I ever got quite good at going to them through my whole college career. So for the majority of my college career, I just didn't schedule them.
I
But
didn't
I
get
think
that
like
luxury.
I think like my 5th year, I had one.
Rough.
And even then, I was like, I was better about going to it than I was in my first couple years of college, but I still wasn't great, if I'm being honest.
I went. I just couldn't guarantee that I'd stay awake.
Right, yeah.
Like, I would not be slumped with no notebook trying to sleep in class, but
Right.
like pencil in hand, like drooling over my paper.
Yeah.
Sometimes it did not have it in me.
Right. And that was the thing, like, because, I mean, 8 a.m., like, that's the latest you were supposed to get to my last job. Like, if you're getting there after, like, and there are people who get there every day. There are some people who don't get there till like 9:30. Just kind of like their rhythm. Maybe they live like super far away. But generally speaking, core hours were actually 7:30 to 4 o'clock, I think, or something like that. So, and that like wasn't that hard to do. But for whatever reason in college, dude, that
You don't have nearly so much of a routine in college.
Yeah, well, exactly. I had basically zero regularity to my life in college. Shit was just popping up all the time.
Yeah, that is exactly how it is again now.
Oh, man. Do you love it?
I don't hate it.
Right. That's good. That's what's important, honestly.
I like school too much for this to really, like, to my core, suck.
Yeah.
It's just like
true.
surface level sucks.
Yeah, surface level sucks, but deeper level.
Like,
Once
I
you
love
go,
it and hate that I love it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Once you explore the iceberg, there is like a core of love down there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but surface is seething hatred.
Lots of complaining.
This is a hot iceberg.
Heatberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
about right. I never really had the luxury to choose the time for my courses.
That's true.
I got lucky in grad school and got
Because you
all
just
of the-
took all of them.
Yeah. I got all the afternoon, evening ones so that I could teach during the morning and early day
Mhm.
in grad school, and that was convenient. But
Right.
pretty much all of undergrad, almost every time, I got to pick early enough that I had the luxury of getting all the classes I wanted, but to get all of the specific classes I wanted,
Mhm.
there would be one, maybe two options.
Yeah.
And of the two options, it would be like an hour and a half difference in one class on one day. And then that was basically my schedule making every year, was put in the classes I know I'm going to take,
Right.
see that there are three options, eliminate one because of sports that conflict,
Yeah.
and then rate my professor to decide the final thing.
Yeah,
and that was
yeah.
pretty much it. Pack it, send it. There's my schedule.
I had fun doing that, dude.
I loved
Putting
it.
together a schedule.
Didn't get to do much flexibility to it, but
Yeah.
maybe deciding between two electives that
Right.
fit differently.
Right.
But
See,
by the time I decided on the exact courses, there would only be ever one choice.
right. See, I was different in that I basically just took the courses I needed to graduate. So yeah, so I did you have a path charted out of how long it's gonna take. Turn out it took me a little bit longer, but I don't know. It was just very cool because there was so much flexibility and trying to pick the best professors and all that kind of stuff and get the best times and maybe get in the same class as your friends and all that kind of stuff.
That does sound even more fun than my experience.
Yeah,
Maybe more stressful.
because no, there were still conflicts. You can never get it quite perfect, but you could get it optimal for the circumstances, similar to how it'll feel better when we roll our D&D characters with dice.
All right, yeah. You've resold me selling you.
Okay,
I'm
perfect. Now we just got to sell the other two players as well as the DM. Now the other two players listen to this podcast.
So let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell us to our faces. We will be reading the comments.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Not going to promise anything I can't promise.
Yeah, true.
Oh, I just leaned back and felt my ribs and abdomen, and it reminded me that in lab today, I was looking inside a human body that had all the abdomen hollowed out and pulling out heart and stuff.
Oh, wow. But
Yeah.
still had bone?
A lot of it, but chest removed.
So they were just skin?
No, what do you mean?
They had everything pulled out.
Of the abdomen.
Right.
So
right.
all the digestive stuff, the spleen, the liver,
Yeah.
kidneys were
So
still
they were
left
just
back
completely hollow in there.
there. Yeah.
So there was just skin on the outside.
Yeah, more or less, because
Okay.
between the bottom edges of your ribs and the upper edge of your hip, there isn't bone.
Right.
So that was just, some skin, side abdominal muscle, fascia.
Okay, there was muscle and stuff.
There-
that's right.
yeah, but it still is open and hollow.
Gotcha. Did you get to touch it?
Yeah. We have gloves on and can touch any aspect of anything and
How
move.
much how much touching did you do? What kind?
Felt a bunch of coronary arteries that were filled up with plaque, and that shit's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Does not feel like an artery should. Very hard, very crunchy. Feels like
But isn't that just because it's old and not in a person?
Feels like if you had a very, very thin layer of cooked pasta on the outside of raw pasta.
Huh.
The
How
thickness
fresh
of an
was
artery.
This piece?
This is a fixed cadaver, so formalin or whatever. It's all preserved now.
Gotcha.
But that was an in-life thing. Usually the arteries can be squished because there's space between them and it's squishy tissue still.
Right.
But when you feel this, it is rock hard and unsqueezable.
And how does one come down with this?
Lots of high cholesterol and fats and stuff that build up. That's atherosclerosis, plaque in your arteries. That's what causes heart attacks. That's what causes a lot of the time stroke stuff. Well, that's usually clots.
That's what Cheerios claims to
Be low in
counteract?
cholesterol.
Not be low on, but to lower yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, it does seem like there's consistent research about high low density cholesterol being unhealthy,
right.
and high density cholesterol being healthy. There is a lot of current discourse on the topic of whether or not dietary stuff has a very large contribution on that.
Really?
And even if a ton of the studies that
On cholesterol.
Yeah. A lot of the studies
Holy
that
cow.
cholesterol research was founded on were done several decades ago. A handful of them were paid for by like sugar industry
By
stuff.
like General Mills, I bet.
Yeah, cereal companies and like grain producer things,
Right.
which is potential conflict of interest. And then also the
Well,
way
there's
that
definitely a conflict of interest.
yeah. Well, the way that the studies were done also, a lot of them I wouldn't call particularly robust. So if someone was eating a high meat diet, they didn't really account for in any way any of the other lifestyle stuff or how they were, like in America in the 80s, if you were eating a high meat diet, that might mean McDonald's 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And that isn't good for you. And all the fries that you eat with it and the soda you eat with it. And if you're a smoker or not, and if that habit goes with fast food, which would be a pro meat, like,
Yeah,
there's a lot
whereas
of,
like vegans are generally going to be more conscious of their health in other ways.
So
too.
a lot of the health improvements exactly with vegetarian and veganism are, some of them are definitely due to, and a lot of them are in conflict about whether they're due to associated factors that are correlated with the lifestyle choices and the accessibility of the lifestyle of vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah.
Where you live and what food you have access to. A lot of it is
they're a bunch of rich assholes.
Not a lot of it is. All of it is way deeper than the surface level arguments of people like pro-meat or pro-vegan.
Mm-hmm.
They're all missing most of the minutia.
Right.
It's a complicated
So what's
problem.
the perfect diet?
That's the best thing. There isn't one.
There isn't one?
There is enough genetic variability.
What's the worst diet? The least perfect. And then we can just move away from that.
Scottish food?
Scottish food is the worst diet. That kills you.
I don't know, dude. It's like
worse than eating cigarettes.
deep fried intestine loaded with ground up other organ meat. Like
organ meat's good for you, I thought.
Some and sometimes, yeah. Like you get a lot of minerals from the liver and such.
That's good.
But a lot of vitamins.
Right.
But the meal haggis is not healthy.
Okay.
But they got those stands all out. Yeah, there's obviously bad food.
Okay.
And there's generally better food. And in general, the closer to less processed, less sugarized, fatized, long shelf life-ized food you eat, the better it is.
So paleo.
Paleo, while not maybe the perfect diet, is definitely in broad strokes a healthy diet.
Right, yeah.
For
basically anyone.
Most of the unhealthy stuff and the stuff that has dramatically unhealthy effects on the human body are things that we have done in mass producing food in the last 100 years.
Right.
Things that let stuff not go bad, things that make stuff more palatable to the general population, things that are more cost effective to produce with different chemical processes.
Yeah.
Like if you're eating cake donuts out of a plastic bag, that's about as close to the shittiest type of food you could eat.
Yeah, right.
So in general, the farther you move from that, the better it is. The exact split, very different. In general, fish, good. Meat for most people, good. For some, not good.
Mm-hmm.
Carbs for most people, good. If simple carbs, for some people, not good.
Right.
So there's a very individualized balance. You can kind of speak in broad strokes about healthy-ish food, but in terms of finding like what truly works best for you, it takes some experimentation because your gut biome, what you were raised on, and what your genetics dictate do point enough at different food profiles that not everyone's diet is going to be best for everyone.
What's the word for
one size fits all? A panacea for everything?
Yeah, panacea, exactly. There's no diet panacea.
There is not, and categorically, if anyone preaching any diet at all says it is the best or always works or is right for you, no questions asked, they're selling horse shit.
They're peddling. Yeah, they're a grifter.
Correct.
Got to get them out of here.
That is an untrue statement.
Get them out of the village.
There are definitely people doing incredibly well on a carnivore diet, and especially for more extreme ones like carnivore or true veganism.
Yeah, like raw vegan.
Yeah, you need to be very conscious about supplementation because you're not like, first of all, ancestors 10,000 years ago did often die from things that could have been improved on with dietary. Like, it's not like they had it all worked out.
Right.
And things have improved. But also, there's no shame in taking vitamins.
Yeah,
so, like,
of course.
You should supplement appropriately and do the science behind the diet to make it work right.
Yeah.
And also follow those generally healthy guidelines. Like, if you're just eating vegan potato chips, still trash for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But if you pay attention to those things, carnivore diet, veganism could be perfect for some individuals.
Right.
For most people, they will not be.
Okay.
So like anyone who's like, no, this is the right thing for you
Mm-hmm.
might be spot on. You could be 100% correct with your experience. That
Right.
doesn't mean it applies broadly.
I'm curious what you think. If there's any that you've been like super intrigued to try.
I honestly am very intrigued to try the carnivore diet.
Really?
Because I don't have any squeamishness about organ meats. I'm already very good at supplementation. Like I know I would hit all of my major things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know carbs in general as a class are like kind of the least healthy, at least in the way that we consume them in America.
Right.
Like even good bread is not very good bread.
Right. Like if you're getting
Pizza's
your
not
carbs from
great.
like vegetables and beans and things.
Yeah, those kind, fine.
Yeah.
But carb is probably the worst, and sugars are almost never good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Right.
Except in like, niche, like performance athletic environment. Like there are some
If you're
times.
eating fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some times. But like no carb is probably one that intrigues me a ton, and jump to full carnivore is also very interesting. With the lactose intolerance stuff and what I know carbs to be so unhealthy, I could cut back to meat and veggies.
Right.
And I think I could do fine and probably great with that, but I'm curious about carnivore.
Right. Right. If you were to start doing carnivore, would you set out like a time? I want to do it for a month. I want to do it for.
I would probably aim for like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
4 to 8 weeks maybe, and do like 2 monthly butcher box shipments during that time. And like,
yeah.
I would need to have some money. Unfortunately,
very true. That's an expensive diet.
Between time and money, I don't think this is possible. Like at least until residency, and even
Right.
then, I have to be like attentive to the money I'm spending on food.
Right.
Because that means every meat. I mean, eggs are still fair game, so I can eat a half
true.
dozen of those.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, still.
it's pretty limited. And
I
the
see.
idea would be to do it full extreme, so I can really test it. Like not doing hot sauce on my eggs. Like
what is that supposed to do for you? Going all meat, everything.
it's been a while since I've listened to any of the actual scientists and doctors that have dug into this or are proponents of or doing research in this. So I can't speak too accurately about it, but a lot of it has to do with, I mean, by nature, when you change your diet, you will also change up your gut biome a lot.
Right.
Just because
And you're trying to turn yours into a jungle.
Exactly. Well, a lot of the ones, from what I understand, a lot of the gut bacterium that tend to feed on more of the oils and fats and sugars tend to also be ones that are generally less healthy and can lead to some of the GI issues and chronic inflammation.
Right.
And not that I think I'm, gluten intolerant, but there is some research showing that just carbohydrates in general, especially more complex ones, cause generalized inflammation. And there's a lot of anecdotal stories about people who have done full carnivore and had immune and inflammation conditions clear up entirely.
That happened with Jordan Peterson's daughter.
To an incredible degree.
Yeah.
But while I understand from a scientific standpoint that those are anecdotal and carry little weight,
Right.
it is also
there's single data point.
it is also though remarkably consistent among those who have done full carnivore. And I would say enough to the point where the question begs the research. Like, this is worth looking into. Enough people. I've heard of the people who have been truly on the carnivore diet, more, definitely most, I'm thinking 80, 90%, and that's just being generous. I can't think of any examples, have reported very, very, very good outcomes. Again, I don't think that works for everyone, and it's very possible that a lot of people for whom it doesn't work might not make it to the point of a full carnivore conversion just because they would dislike it or feel bad enough that they don't go through with it.
Right.
It's a weed out type of process in that regard. But if any of the anecdotal reports that I'm hearing, which are so consistent, are true, it sounds like it would be a lot less of the blood sugar spikes and insulin dumps and like midday tiredness and post-meal crashes.
Yeah.
More constant energy, better mental clarity. Richard is not carnivore, but like damn close to it.
Like keto, basically.
He's at least keto.
Okay.
And he was saying that just cutting out the carbs has given an incredible change in mental clarity all the time. So if I can potentially sharpen up my brain, level out my energy, and cut out inflammation, which is a big part of why my back still hurts post surgery,
Yeah.
it could potentially be like life changing.
Doesn't that mean no more drinking?
I think in its purest form, yeah.
Right.
It definitely means no more like beer or wine.
Oh, for sure. No, wine's actually very low carb. I think maybe lower than like
Still,
hard
like there are
alcohol.
sugars in it. That's why you look for the legs on a wine glass when you swirl it.
Yeah, right.
So to do it well, definitely those out. There might be like, I don't know, if vodka or tequila or something, like clear liquors are okay, but
They all break keto, the ethanol in them.
good to know. Yep, I would have to dig a little more into the science of it, and especially in terms of what pure carnivore is supposed to be switching the cellular machinery over to.
Mm-hmm.
But probably. That said, for 1 or 2 months to see how this goes, I'm willing to give that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fair
I'm going
enough.
to be looking and feeling incredible having done both.
That's true. And you're not the kind of guy who needs it.
The other issue, though, is then you get noise with the experimental data. I won't know if the results that I'm feeling physically are because of my diet change or from cutting out alcohol.
Oh, that's very true.
So maybe I got to do it for a month or two while still my regular drinking habits, see what changes, and if I want to continue with it, then cut out alcohol,
Yeah.
see the change from there.
Would alcohol just not fuck you up worse because now your body's not used to processing like carbs
If
or
I
anything?
stopped for a long time and then drank, yes. it
No, I
would.
mean if you kept drinking but cut out all other carbs.
No, because then you'd still be processing that stuff, so your
Right.
body would still maintain the enzymes necessary for that.
Okay.
There's generalized enzymes for sure, and maybe there'd be some level of change, but like so long as there's a relatively consistent product that needs to be digested, you're
Mhm.
still going to be capable of it to some extent.
Yeah.
So D&D.
Right. Oh, okay. So
I'm thinking a gastric wizard.
it sounds like we're going to have to put another edit here.
Oh, right. We swerved off the topic a little while ago.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So I guess we can record this as a second cut to put back at the beginning, and we'll just guess what the time was when we stopped talking D&D.
Yeah, true. Or we can do it in the edit. That would be a quick edit.
So if you're hearing
You'd rather
this,
guess? Okay.
if you're hearing this, then we put this second clip at the beginning after the first clip that said we're talking about D&D, and at that time we're still talking about it. We now are wrapping up the podcast, and we finished talking about it, but that was a little while ago, and we don't really know when. So I'm going to guess it was like maybe 45-ish minutes in, plus minus 3.
You think it... I don't know if it was that long.
We're almost at an hour.
Yeah, true.
So about 15 minutes of this dietary talk. Maybe less, honestly.
No, but I feel like we talked about stuff before the diet stuff as well.
And we didn't decide on characters. Maybe it's still D&D.
I don't think this podcast was about deciding. I think that this podcast, as usual,
Brainstorming.
was about exploring.
Oh, well said.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, jump to later in the podcast if you don't want D&D talk, because the first most of it is.
Yeah.
And that's been another episode of A Couple of Fellas.
Peace out, y'all.